What is up, everybody? Typically, I don't go live, but since I wouldn't have time until later after work to give an update on the Big Brother 27 live feeds, I had to jump on while I had a chance to talk about the clusterfuck of the latest HOH. I originally thought that with the new HOH Riley, I was going to have a hard time making videos this week because I don't like him, but also because I figured there was going to be a ton of feeds cut this week because Riley would probably be saying some really bad stuff. And the feeds always cut on Riley when he is on, even though they do love to put the feeds on Cat and Riley a lot late at night. But thanks to the gifts that keep on giving, and thanks to the power, of course, being Mickey's, and the two gifts being Keanu and Ashley, things change. But before we get to that, I do want to discuss some pre-vote stuff and some post-vote stuff because I didn't get a chance to do an update yesterday. First thing I got to talk about is that Ashley does, in fact, have a bit of a crush on Zach. I said a couple days ago that I was hoping she didn't. I was not completely wrong. My whole point of that video was that Ashley's game does not revolve around Zach, and I still do believe that. I think Ashley is playing a game where she plants seeds and makes other targets in the house and just plants seeds in general. And I think actually last night was probably a good example of her planting seeds and it working. But yeah, Zach was doing a lot of flirting with Ashley on Wednesday night and not quite love bombing, but getting into that territory. Um, so I guess it works on Ashley. It works on a lot of people, a lot of women in that house. And I think I said that he looks like a finger with a face on it in one of my videos as well. But apparently it works on the women. But he's a good flirt. You know, he says he's a virgin. He's clearly not. Um, Morgan is still caught up in him bad. Ashley is into him, but he has game. You can't take that away from Zach. That is what is working for Zach in this game, is his social game. I guess I can also say that like there's not a lot of great options in the house for the women if they're locked up in the house for these months with the guys. You know, we have Riley who looks like a hick, looks like his parents might be cousins. We have Keanu who doesn't shower. We have had Adrian that had the social game of a paper towel and probably the flirting game of a wet paper towel. And then Vince is taken. So like, of course they're all gonna have crushes on Zach. I think it's pretty good. Shout out to Corinne and VIP lady. Good morning, VIP lady. Good morning, Corinne. So yeah, Zach's flirting his way through the game. For years, we've had people try and say, "Oh, this woman's the next Allison Irwin. Leah's the next Allison Irwin. America's the next Allison Irwin." It's Zach. Zach is definitely the next Allison Irwin. His game is working because of his flirting. I think Zach has a great social game, but I could officially say that Zach has no game sense. The fact that Zach needed Ava to spell it out for him. Ava, who he says sleeps all day, has a better grasp on the actual social game that's going on than Zach himself. She had to spell out to Zach that keeping Adrian would have been pretty bad for his social game because then he's connected to Keanu and Kelly, who are these big targets. And then Zach could just become a big target with them. The fact that Zach didn't really completely understand this when he's been playing the game of playing all sides, much like Vince, tells me that he doesn't have game sense. I do think Vince has a much better game sense than Zach. And I do wish the show would have gave Ava credit for being the person that basically made the Adrian vote happen. But, you know, this is the same show that's giving Ashley no credit this week for fighting her way to not be a renom. Now Ava's getting no credit for being the key piece for Vince and Zach completely voting against Adrian when Will was on the block next to him after the blockbuster. I mean, they still could in Sunday's episode, I guess, but that was good of Ava. I guess we must talk about a little bit of the vote. Like Callie won the blockbuster again, whatever. I mean, one thing I can say is she is this season's Tucker. She said she was gonna be, and she is winning those blockbuster competitions. We had Keanu, Callie, Riley, and Kat on the wrong side of the vote. I was glad that they were kind of still voting the way they did, and was blindsided by Vince and Zach. And Adrian going, he did it to himself. He did not have the social ability to keep himself in the game. In fact, his social game is kind of what got him voted out. His pitching was terrible. And I think he came into this game thinking that all he had to do was be good at comps, but he couldn't even do that. So sucks to suck. And his leaving with the bread was pretty cringe, I thought. Now, Riley did win the HOH, and shout out to Kira, Grand Rising to you as well. So I was pretty annoyed when I saw that he was the HOH, because I knew we were gonna be in for a bad week. Like I said at the beginning of this video, that he was probably going to be saying problematic stuff, and the feeds were going to cut. He continues to be, outside of what I see as the racism, he is creepy with Kat, and I think if you watch the body language sometimes between he and Kat, he gets a little too much, and she tries to not be with him. Walked up and left one night when he was caressing her under the sheets, so that was awkward. I don't know. Riley is a problem. I don't know why he was cast in the first place. So I thought coming into his HOH, I could only imagine that Mickey, Ashley, and Morgan are going to be nominated. And sure enough, that's what he was discussing doing, not Zach or Vince, who just turned on him, of course. I will say that Keanu was immediately in Riley's ear talking shit on Zach. So they are talking shit on Zach, but Keanu's big plan as well. We could still be an alliance, and then Zach will just be the first one out. So Zach is being caught in the crosshairs here. Vince had a conversation with Keanu, Riley, trying to grovel, trying to get their forgiveness. Vince goes to work immediately. His game is to be on everyone's side, and he hasn't given that up yet. And he has Keanu hooked. I don't think Keanu is going to drop Vince anytime soon, even though Keanu has told Rachel at times that he sees the game that Vince is playing. When Keanu and Vince talk one-on-one, I feel like Vince is able to get back in Keanu's good graces every time Keanu's having doubts, even after all of this. I can't hate on Vince for this, because at least he tries. I will say that his game is totally out in the open now. So I don't know how long it's going to keep working. But the fact that it worked on Keanu, I guess, shouldn't be shocking, because it is Keanu. And then the biggest thing that Keanu did was give Riley this idea that that the power, they want to flesh out the power, that the power might be Ashley's, that Ashley might have the power. And it's funny because not everyone, but most people in the house have discussed that it's probably Mickey. And Riley was thinking that is probably Mickey as well, but maybe it is Ashley, because Ashley seems like someone that might have the power. And that's just mostly because Ashley will do and say anything. So it looks like she feels safe because Ashley doesn't care. She's going to be herself regardless, and she's going to gossip, and she's going to talk shit. And Ashley, I think, used that to her advantage in the wee hours of the morning. Ashley and Mickey had a conversation about Riley. And then I guess what happened is Mickey could use the power at any point. So we had another major feed cut. After the feeds were out forever because of the HOH, we had another major feed cut. And that's because Mickey used her power, and Riley got a chance to guess. And after the feeds come back on, it seems Riley was unsuccessful. Mickey is the new HOH. She used her power successfully. And I think Ashley deserves some credit for that. Ashley said she was playing it up. She said she winked at Riley before he made the decision to guess who was the HOH. So think Keanu, once again with his bad reads, screwed some of his own allies in being the first person to put it in Riley's mind that it's probably Ashley. Because before the feeds cut, Keanu was the one pushing that Ashley probably has this power. We should flesh out the power. Then suddenly the power is used, and Riley chooses that Ashley has it, but no, it's Mickey. So Mickey got lucky in that I think only the two people that would not guess her were the people in HOH discussing the power. I don't know who Mickey will nominate. I'll discuss it quickly here in a second because I gotta go. But I'm glad that Mickey's power was successful. I could not stomach a Riley HOH. I really couldn't. I think that Mickey is looking at Kat and Riley. I don't know if Riley is eligible to be chosen, but that's what it sounded like in one of her discussions that she could put up Riley. That's a major power. I guess the production's caveat is that, hey, you're the HOH, you got a chance to guess to save your HOH and you failed, so you have no HOH powers. I would usually feel bad. But since it's Riley, it's kind of hard to feel bad. Even if it was Keanu, I would have felt pretty bad that if he was HOH and his HOH got taken, as dumb as he is, I would have felt bad for him because he would have finally had some power. But for Riley, I don't feel so bad for him. I don't think Mickey should use the secret powerful HOH to get out a Keanu or a Kelly. I could see one of them being nominated. I think both of them being nominated again with a secret power, even though it's really not that secret because most of the house are going to know it's Mickey by the end of this. And she's probably going to be a bigger target going forward because of this. But that's why I more so think it shouldn't be Kelly or Keanu, at least not her target. I don't know if Mickey's the one that should go after Zach or Vince, but maybe she is. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to do that. I actually think for her game, getting a Kat or Riley out is probably better for her game. Because apparently also after the reveal that his HOH was stolen, Riley was doing his cussing at Mickey and Ashley. Not surprising that Riley's cussing is finally being seen as the actual aggression in the house, finally. But yeah, I don't even know if Riley's actually eligible to be nominated or not, but I guess we will find out. I will probably do another update later today, but I wanted to do this early while I had a chance because I had to talk about Riley. His HOH getting stolen. I'm sorry. He was crying. I was laughing. I don't like him. Haven't since the beginning. Don't know why he was cast in the first place. I'm as surprised as everyone that Mickey was actually successful in using her power because it was looking dark. It was looking like everyone knew Mickey had the power. But thanks to Keanu, who is always wrong, literally always wrong about everything so far this season. I agree, Ebony. I hope Riley isn't safe either and goes on the block. I would love Riley to go home this week. I think it helps the game breathe, mostly because he is a big toxic factor on this season. Scrappy Doo says Riley losing his HOH. Why did he listen to Keanu? Why does anyone at this point listen to Keanu? I mean, Vince and Zach and even Will mock him when he leaves a room because he's always wrong. I guess it just takes more people learning that he's always wrong. But if this isn't learning for the side of like Riley and Kat, then they're a lost cause if they can't see that Keanu is always wrong. As I said a couple of videos ago, he's going to go down as one of the dumbest house guests, but it's only because he's still there. Like most dumb players go home within the first 2 or 3 weeks. So we have 2 or 3 weeks of their bad reads. Keanu's going on 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks where he's just having bad read after bad read. There's no way Mickey should want to get rid of Keanu this week. He is single-handedly helping them decimate the other side, even though I don't think they're officially sides. He's good for their game. Unless he's in power, he's actually good for their game because he crumbles anyone that tries to work with him. Scrappy Doo says Keanu has saved Ashley twice now by accident. It's true. He has, although Ashley has saved herself twice now as well. She fought to stay off the block. And last night she played into the fact that Riley thought she had the powers. So anyway, good stuff. I have to go, but I'll read your comment, Ebony, real quick. There's been so many combos Riley was a part of where people suspected Mickey had the power. How he got this wrong is crazy. Well, this is what happens when you're not playing the game for 3 weeks. It's also why I can't feel sorry for him for losing his HOH, and why I wouldn't feel sorry for him if he's eligible to be a nominee. He thought he was at summer camp. You're not. You're playing Big Brother. Maybe you should actually wake up and play. All right, guys, I gotta go. Thanks for joining me early this morning.